Hi, cat. Come and get some mango, baby.
One, two, 1, 2, 3. Self-awareness is a superpower. My name is KathyLaDonna. Welcome to Soul and Vibration. I hope the free thinkers are doing well. And if you're not doing well, I'm happy to remind you that you are the most powerful person that you know. You are the most powerful person that you know because only you can create your reality. Hey guys, today is Friday, January 24th, and the energies in the day adds up or reduced to number 7 vibration. If today is your birthday, happy birthday. The spirit guidance for today's energy is the lion. Lion came out, but it came out in the reversal position. So with the lion energy coming out, it brings me to courage and having the strength to face something or deal with something. The lion energy also brings me to expression, the ability to freely express ourselves and expressing ourselves from the heart. And in order to do that, for me, it came down to coming to the point where you no longer care what other people think. And genuinely not caring what other people think. I'm not saying I don't give a darn what other people think, but at the same time, frozen and stagnant in place and not making things happen like you said you would like to, because deep down you do care about what other people think. For me, it comes down to reflecting, first of all, and recognizing how much we hold ourselves back based on wondering what other people will think. And, you know, once you reflect enough on all the ways you might hold yourself back or limit yourself worrying about what other people think, you might find yourself getting pissed off and fed up and deciding like, you know what, like I'm tired of living for other people because first of all, ain't nobody thinking about you. And if they are, it's in relation to themselves. So to get up and wonder what other people think, it's holding ourselves in this imaginary prison and pretty much living for others. And the worst thing for me is to get to a certain point in life and look back and be filled with a bunch of shoulda, coulda, wouldas, all because I was so worried and concerned about what other people would think, about what other people would say. You know, when this is the one life that we have to live, and it's like you want to make it count. And it's like, yes, you know, reincarnation and different timelines and things like that. But I mean, you're here right now. So why not live it to the fullest and, you know, make it count, live it the way you want to live it. Like for me, the worst thing is regret, is to, like I said, get to a point, shoulda, coulda, woulda. It's better to try things and realize, you know what, I don't want to live over there. I don't want to live on that side of town. I don't want to live in that country. I don't want to live in that state. It's better to have, you know, have the experience and come to the realization that that's not for me. I don't want to pursue that career path. I don't want to do this or that. Why? Because I've tried it and I know that I don't want it. I want to try something else, opposed to wondering what it would have been like if I had tried this thing, what it would have been like if I had pursued that thing, and, you know, stuck with the regrets because you've come to a point where it's too late to pursue any of it. I prefer to try something and realize it's not for me and move on to something else, because there are some people that will try to shame you and make you feel some type of way for making changes in your life, for trying things, exploring options and things like that. And first of all, when it comes to that person, if their lifestyle, the way they're living, how they're living, like if you're not inspired to do what they're doing or to have what they have, then why does their opinion count? Why does their opinion matter in the first place? And I feel like when we're living authentically to ourselves, there's not going to be a lot of situations where it's like you want exactly what someone else has, if you're being authentically true to yourself. Because we all want to experience different things. There might be similarities in the things, but it's going to be unique to us as individuals. So when it comes to the lion energy, it brings me to the heart space, to the heart chakra. And, you know, are you living from the heart space, or are you living from a place of fear? Because when we're living from a place of fear, which is the lion energy in the reversal position, then we're going to be very cautious. And I think of like the whole, is it Alice in Wonderland or the Yellow Brick Road, whichever one it is, with the cowardly lion. And it's like, it's not a lion's nature to be cowardly. So, you know, within all of us, like whenever we're operating from a space of fear, like that's not our nature. That's not the truth of our essence and who we are. So for me, I remember when I stopped and reflect within myself, when I noticed that I was very scary about certain things, and I stopped and reflect to myself and say, this is not my fear. Like, this is not my fear. Where did I pick this up at? Whether it came through from the womb or I picked it up at some point or the next, like, this is not my fear. Like, this is not my nature, you know, as a being to be fearful. This is something that I must have picked up somewhere. It's like when it comes to the essence of who we are, like being fearful is not a part of our truth. It's not a part of who we are. So the question is, where did I pick this up at? And for me, when it comes to being an empath, all it takes is to become aware of the energy that you're currently in and to recognize that this isn't my energy, and immediately you break the connection. Meaning, as an empath, before I became aware that that was even a thing, my days would feel like roller coasters, emotional roller coasters, as I would find myself just going in and out of different emotions because they would just take me over. And I wasn't present within myself enough to know, you know, what was me and what wasn't me. So I would find myself just, you know how with the Cancer moon energy, they'll say, oh, this person's moody. I'll find myself going through all different kind of moods and emotions where, yes, as the moon moves through the sky and it's moving through different places, different planetary bodies, and making connections with different planetary bodies. Yes, it invokes emotions in us, or it affects our emotions. It reflects what's happening within. And for me, becoming present through meditation and journaling, I was able to become aware of the fact that maybe what's happening with the moon right now and the different emotions that it's invoking or pulling out of me with the gravitational pull of it, the different emotions that's happening with me according to what's happening with the moon, or maybe I'm crossing paths with certain people and their sadness becomes mine. And not being present and aware, a person might not realize that the sadness that they're feeling that came from out of nowhere is not their sadness. And when we're not aware of our own emotions, sadness will come over you, and you might be picking it up from somewhere, someone else, and the mind will cleverly find a reason to justify the sadness, and you'll just find yourself sinking into that. Where for me, meditation and spending time in silence and reflecting really helps, because sadness might come over me and I'll stop and say, okay, what's happening in my life right now to justify this sadness? And it's like, okay, there's nothing happening in my life to justify this sadness. Wait a minute, this isn't my sadness. And I promise you, it just moves on. It's almost like each emotion is a spirit, is a living entity. Like everything within this realm is alive, and emotions are living spirits looking for hosts, whether it's good emotions or negative emotions. And once you recognize the emotion and you're like, wait a minute, this isn't my emotion, it has to leave because you're no longer hosting it. It has to move on. Or it could be a situation where it is your emotion, it is your sadness, because maybe you're thinking about something that happened at work today, or something that was said to you, or, you know, something happened. And for me, in those cases, you know, the sadness is my sadness, or what I'm feeling or what I'm thinking is conjuring up this sadness and pulling this energy in. And the way how I'll shake it is first to be present and observe what it is that I'm feeling, and observe it without judgment. Because the minute I start judging and adding to the story, for example, it could be maybe you're walking down the street or whatever, and you're walking past someone, and I don't know, maybe they clutched their purse really close to them, and you're like, wait a minute, was that, like, did they do that towards me or whatever? And maybe say you have an insecurity about certain things, so them doing that triggers something. And then now you're thinking about what they did, and you're starting to entertain things in your past that happened that were similar. And it's like the thoughts will bring you down the rabbit hole as you're pulling up memories that match what it is that you're going through at the moment. And then you start to feed into that emotion, and then create a nice space for that energy to just come in and sit there. Where for me, recognize what it is that I'm feeling, and even questions will help. Where I might think a thought, you're walking down the street, the person clutches their bag, and it's like, you know, a thought might be, oh, they think that I'm going to try to snatch their bag. And the question that I'll ask myself is, how do I know that for sure? That's why they clutched their bag. And even if that is the truth as to, and how do I know that for sure? I don't know that for sure. So normally that will help me to snap out of it, because I don't know that for sure. And if it's a situation where it's like clear that, yes, this is the reason why, okay, what does it mean about me? And why do I have to make it mean something negative about me? And when I question, okay, she grabbed her purse because I'm walking by and I'm intimidating to her for some reason, you know, and the mind will start bringing up experiences in the past as to how something similar happened, and maybe something's wrong with you and you're the problem. And it's like, wait a minute, you know, I'll stop myself and, you know, reflect and say, wait a minute, noticing where my mind is going, and redirect my energy. Because it's like, why do I have to add to this story and feed into this story in this way? Why couldn't it be that she did what she did because of her, and it has absolutely nothing to do with me, and she just did what she did because of her? It just comes back to the importance of reflecting and not allowing ourselves to feed into negative stories about ourselves, because we live in a realm that's mental. So it comes back to our stories, and the mind will tell the stories and create emotion. So I think of the mind as wind, and the mind, you know, the wind will start going, and our emotions is the ocean, and the wind will start, like, you know, moving the emotions around, and then we start feeling different emotions. And depending on the emotions that we're feeling, I feel like they're like energetic charges that attract other things to it that holds the same frequency. So when the mind starts thinking about certain things that makes us not feel good, then we start experiencing not feel good emotions. And I feel like we attract certain energies to us that feeds off that energy. And, you know, when we become clear about what it is that we're feeling, those things can't feed on our energy any longer. Let's pause for a bit. I am proud of the services that I offer and excited to tell you about them. If it would be your first time booking with me, then I recommend the natal chart and numerology awareness coaching session. For a while, that was the only service I offered, along with the 30 minutes tarot reading, which is still available if you're interested. I noticed the pattern. At the end of the natal chart and numerology coaching sessions, some of you would ask me for a follow-up service options for additional clarity and guidance to assist you with whatever you're going through at the moment. I kept saying, I'll look into it. I don't know why it took me so long. Finally, I have created that option, along with the service option to book a solar return chart reading for those of you who are strategic and like to plan ahead. Everything you need to know is within the description box below. Let's get back into the video. So today's one of those days that that has a lot to do with reflecting. Today's a big time reflection energy, and we could find ourselves reflecting on certain things. More than likely though, when it comes to today, it's easy to find yourself like in a deep space reflecting on certain things pertaining to maybe your siblings, maybe your family, maybe your community, wherever it is that you're living, or even your stability, and also to maybe relationship, romantic encounters. Today's reflective energy though feels more like material. When I say material, I don't mean just like the things that you own or what you don't own and wanting to own more, have more, but material as in like the superficial aspects of life, like being single, being alone, or the relationship not being the way how you think it should be. Those are some things that we could find ourselves reflecting on. But with the moon in Sagittarius, the moon is in a place that doesn't like to really reflect on emotions much. The moon is in a place where instead we will go off and go look for an adventure because we really don't want to feel emotions, or we'll find ourselves, looking for educational content or information to kind of take our mind away from anything that will stir up any real emotions. So when I look at the moon in Sag and the energies in the day adding up and reducing to the number 7 vibration, big time, education energy, wanting to dive into something, to feel something different could be a thing. And then for others of us with that 7 energy and the moon in Sagittarius, educational content to understand our emotions, our feelings, and things like that. Educational content in the sense that this is one of those days where it's like you say you had an experience yesterday and all of a sudden today you're stumbling down certain psychological content to understand certain personality traits, to try to understand why is this way, or why is this person that way, or why am I this way, or why am I that way. I feel like those are some things we could find ourselves diving into today. So when it comes to, the tarot, we have the 3 of Wands in the upright position. So with the 3 of Wands in the upright position, it brings me to something to look forward to. So when it comes to today's energy, maybe some of us are anticipating certain things. We're waiting for certain things to come through, certain things to happen already. And today could be one of those days where we find ourselves feeling a little bit anxious or frustrated because you're sure this thing is coming in. And it's like, why is it not here yet? Why didn't I get the promotion yet? Why didn't the letter come in, the check come in the mail yet? It's like something that we're waiting for, something that we're looking forward to, anticipating it today. And when it comes to, say, the lion energy coming out in the reversal position, again, it brings me to courage. It brings me to the way how we restrict ourselves. I'm thinking about this quote by Dr. Maya Angelou. I don't remember the details of the quote, but it says something about in order to practice, I'm sure I'm having it all wrong. I just know that the quote was about courage, and it was talking about certain virtues. And in order to practice any of the virtue, first you're going to need courage. So, I think about in order for us to do anything in this life, we're going to need to have courage. So today is one of those days to, reflect on what gets in the way of you having courage. Is it because you're afraid to fail? Is it because you're wondering what people will say, what people will think, how they will see you, how they will receive you? With the lion energy in the reversal position, it just brings me to the importance of reflecting on how we restrict ourselves and hold ourselves back. Because when I look at both these energies together, and I think of like the lion coming out in the reversal position having to do with restricting of courage, and then this person looking out, I think about how we're looking. I think of, so with these 2 energies also, I think of someone working on something and then experience bumps or hiccups in the road, and experiencing the bumps and hiccups in the road, questioning whether you should quit or not, even though you've come so far to the point that you could have some really good things to look forward to. So yeah, when it comes to today's energy, it brings me to the courage to move forward. It brings me to the courage of, moving forward, taking action, and living our lives for ourselves, living for you and not for anybody else. It was a pleasure sharing this message with you. Before you go anywhere, please let me know you're here with me by dropping me a purple heart in the comment box below. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Love yourself as if your life depended on it, because it does. Take care of yourself, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.